Charlotte Motor Speedway opened in 1960, and while much of the sport has changed since then, this layout remains the same. High banks and punishing corners, high speeds and big bumps, Charlotte has it all, making it an excellent stage for tonight's BRB season finale. Strap in for 200 laps, it's about to get bumpy. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Concord, North Carolina. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Burtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for continuing coverage of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Tonight's coverage from Charlotte is brought to you by the Buttkicker, by Ascendance Trucking, by Ideal Lease, by Sundance Pizza, and by Whiplash Sim Cams. We join you this evening for race 18 of 18 in a long season. 18 races total. It has been a grind for these guys all the way since June. We're now in October. While that's not quite a NASCAR season length, in fact, it's about half of a NASCAR season, it still is quite a grind for these guys to go from the beginning of June all the way through to the beginning of October now. It has been a wild season as well. A lot of great racing here, a lot of great racing there. We've even been here already for the Charlotte Roval just a few weeks ago. So circling back around to Charlotte this evening feels right, Zach. This is a fantastic racetrack. So much fun to go to, especially with these next-gen cars.
Yeah, there's so much greatness that is always unfolding here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lots of great events, the Charlotte Roval, the Coca-Cola 600, the Summer Shootout for the U.S. Legend Cars. Oh, they're building a brand new road course facility onto this track. Hopefully we'll see it on the iRacing Sim. They made a couple updates to the Roval. Unfortunately, we don't have them just yet, but I always enjoy coming to Charlotte, Andrew. I know you enjoy coming to this track. There's a lot of great things that are always capable at this facility. This is one of the best facilities that I think is on the NASCAR schedule. The surface is a little aged. There's always something going on, and it produces great racing all the time.
While graphics freeze up a little bit on us, we are headed into the qualifying session now. Bear with us as, well, you know, we had some problems last night in a broadcast we did. I didn't expect them to continue into this evening. Usually it has to do with heat race sessions, but it looks like it's sorting itself out slowly but surely, Zach. It's, man, ATVO sometimes just has a bit of a struggle, but to break the fourth wall down a little bit more, this is just part of it sometimes, and we'll see if it cooperates here shortly. It's coming back to me slowly but surely. There we go. We are back. Broadcast things. Anyways, let's take a look at point standings before we get too far into this thing. We do have quite a battle for this championship. Mason Houseman 4 up on Johnny Wood Jr., 10 up on Stephen Borbell, who's got a 2-lap hold at the beginning of this race. Jared Hughes and Adam Buzzio sit 13 and 15 back respectively. And Johnny Wood Jr.'s win at Martinsville may have been super clutch last week. I know we missed the broadcast, but to go into Martinsville, get a race win, and move up to just 4 back going into the final race, it's darn near even. Get a few points in the stage, and you're really right there with him. And we could have ourselves a really fun battle for this championship this evening, Zach. And stage points are going to matter. The race finish is going to matter. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That it will. There's so many different storylines going into this. Like you said, Andrew, Borbell has to serve a 2-lap hold, so that's going to offset him going into stage 1. He's going to be playing off of cautions, and you see it in the background there. Stephen Borbell actually goes top of the board. We'll see how long that lasts. I say that. Mason Houseman tops the board. There's so many different scenarios that could play out going into this race tonight. Borbell, if he gets a lot of stage points, he could take over the championship hold. Johnny Wood Jr., he gets some stage points and wins the race. He could take it over. Mason Houseman, he doesn't really have to do much other than finish in front of everybody else, and that's easier said than done in most cases, Andrew.
Well, Houseman's going for the pole here. He was on pole, then Hughes went and ran, and now Mason Houseman will bump back onto pole position by nearly a tenth over Jared Hughes. That's a monster lap at a 29.740. Jared Hughes is relegated to a 29.811. Johnny Wood Jr., a 29.811 as well. That ties Jared Hughes and must be down to the 10,000th. I mean, that is incredible. 2 811s for second and third place. Identical lap times. And Johnny Wood Jr. gets the nod, it looks like. There's Dakota Camper into the pit lane. Adam Buzzio on track in the Buttkicker special. He runs for lap number 3, so he's already exhausted his qualifying laps. Here is Dakota Blythe, though, in car 58 on the racetrack.
Boy, I just love seeing that Charlotte sunset, Andrew. It never gets old as Dakota Bly takes it down the back straightaway here at Charlotte into turns 3 and 4. Rolling back to the start-finish line now. Let's see if he improves at all this time around. Looks like... Not sure if he improved there. Doesn't look like he did. A 30.51. Slight improvement. Not a lot, though, out of that 58 car. And it looks like just about almost everybody has turned a qualifying lap now, Andrew. I think the only driver left on track to turn a qualifying lap is Richard Wolsifer.
Graphics are being real interesting this evening, freezing up on me a little bit, so we'll play it by ear here, but looks like they're coming back down. Finally, Dakota Bly, yeah, will stay in 15th spot of 16 that have run, that are here. Jason Bottoms has not yet run. Wolsifer went and ran a 6th place lap time, a 29.843. So as qualifying comes to a close this evening, 16 cars in total. Going to be a fun one here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at the full season schedule and how we got here, Zach. All the way back at Indianapolis, we picked up coverage of these guys on August the 6th and then continued on to Eldora, Chicagoland, Bristol, and California before the chase began. Then it was Las Vegas to get the chase started, Charlotte for the Roval on September 17th, Talladega on September 24th. That was the last race we covered. Martinsville last week was right in the wake of Hurricane Helene. We did not have internet at Broadcast HQ and couldn't cover that race. But we're back here at Charlotte this evening for the finale, Zach, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That it is. It's been a good season so far. We've only been with BRB Buttkicker Cup Series since about Indianapolis. So to be able to cover their second half of the season and just showcase all the great racing we've seen so far is great to see. And you know what else is great to see, Andrew? The amazing grid-up formation that we love to see here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, lining them all up on the front straightaway.
We'll take a look first at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. A 200-lap race split into 3 stages, 50, 50, and 100 laps in length. 6 change sets in the pit lane, 80% fuel, fixed setups, 1 fast repair, 3 green-white checkers available. And wouldn't you know it, graphics are freezing up. I'm going to look in to see if I can find a way to fix what's going on. Unfortunately, it might be out of our control this evening, and we will play with it by ear because this is getting, again, to break the fourth wall a little bit, getting very, very frustrating and very, very difficult to work with. But we'll press on as we're able. Looks like we'll lose graphics. Zach, if you could run through the grid here for me real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of great drivers on the field tonight. 16 starting this race tonight. On pole, though, you saw him, Mason Hausman. He's going to be starting this race from the pole. Your championship leader, starting P number 1, and Johnny Wood Jr. is going to be starting right next to him. So the 2 drivers in the fight for the championship at the moment, they're going to be starting on your front row. Rolling down, it's Jared Hughes and Stephen Borbell in 3rd and 4th. 2 other drivers in contention for this championship. Stephen Borbell, though, will be pulling off for that 2-lap hold. Brendan Maddox and Richard Wolsifer starting 5th and 6th. That's row number 3 on your starting grid tonight. Dakota Camper and Zachary Maddox in 7th and 8th, and Adam Buzzio and Nicholas Renner to round out your top 10. Carl Pooler and Cody Dorsey, 11th and 12th. That's row number 6. Rolling into row number 7, Jamie Plord and Evan Patinko. And then last but certainly not least, row number 8, Dakota Bly and Jason Bottoms. That's going to be your starting grid tonight as these drivers roll off. You can see it in the background of your screen there. They're rolling into turn number 1 as the Charlotte sunset hits the racetrack. So these drivers will finish this race under the lights, Andrew. But I'm super stoked for 200 laps here at Charlotte.
It's going to be a fun one for sure. We're going to follow along with a camera angle. It's going to be a handicap broadcast to start. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. ATVO is not cooperating right now, so give me one moment to get to where I know we're going to have some cameras, and we'll roll with this for the start of the race. Guys, I'm going to be honest. This is not how I want the broadcast to start. We're going to try and work on it in the background, but we should at least have graphics back shortly and this coverage to get us started for a 300-mile race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stand by for the green flag from Barney the Flagman in the restart zone. Waiting on it, waiting on it, waiting on it, and we are green from Charlotte. Mason Houseman leads lap 1. Johnny Wood Jr. sits in second spot. Jared Hughes and everybody else lining up third on back. 1 lap complete here, Zach. The first side-by-side back there between Maddox and Buzzio.
Side-by-side for the 5th spot. Look at the race for the lead, though. Johnny Wood Jr. takes a look down the inside at Mason Houseman going into turn number 3. Forces him up the racetrack. They are not giving each other an inch. They know the championship is on the line. They don't care that it's only lap 2. It could be lap 200 for all they care, because the championship fight heating up now on lap number 3 of this race. Stephen Borbell has pulled off the racetrack. He is serving his 2-lap hold, so he should be back out on the racetrack momentarily as soon as the field passes the start-finish line. Side by side back there as well for the 5th spot as the lead singles out. But Johnny Wood Jr. does not want to wait around. He wants that clean air. He wants to get out there and take that lead away from Mason Houseman. A couple of cars hitting the wall back there off of turn number 4. Still rolling through turn number 2. You see the field is single file for the most part. Got a few cars poking down to the inside line. There's a fight back there for 5th still. Actually, turning into a fight for 4th now. Jared Hughes and Brendan Maddox. Looks like Maddox is going to be able to get on by that 98 car. Now we're mostly single file. We see the field rolling through turns 1 and 2. The top 3 now branching out a little bit further from the pack. Houseman's still your leader. Now you see Adam Buzzio starting to reel those drivers in. Seeing if he can get up there and get in the championship fight. Just a quick reminder for you folks at home. The fight for the championship right now, Adam Buzzio is 15 points back. So he needs to be able to maximize stage points, not let these guys get any further advantage on him. Put himself in a position that he could potentially win the championship. So as they run, really, in stage 1, this would be another 2 points added to Mason Houseman's lead over Adam Buzzio, put him 17 points back, and it would put Johnny Wood Jr. 5 points back from where they run right now. Lap number 7 underway as they roll down the back straightaway. Johnny Wood Jr. with a look into turn number 3. Tries to be patient. Buzzio's going to cross him over off of turn number 4. Takes a look on the front straightaway. No dice just yet. Johnny Wood Jr.'s in the grass, holding on to that spot. Call him Dale Earnhardt, passing the grass. I say that. Earnhardt actually didn't make a pass. He was holding on to position, so it's pretty similar, all things considered. With the top 3 now nose to nose into turn number 3. Johnny Wood Jr. on the back bumper of Mason Houseman, trying to hang on and not let that 78 car drive away. Brendan Maddox now into the fold. It's a 4-car race now for the race lead. As they roll into turn number 1, Houseman gets about a car length out in front. Buzzio falls back a little bit. Looks like Johnny Wood Jr. gets a lot better of a run through center of the corner compared to Mason Houseman. Houseman goes defensive into turn 3. That's going to be a compromised line for the 78. Now that 75 car looking through the middle gets a run. No dice though. Mason Houseman still continuing to lead as we have 10 laps completed. 9 completed on to lap 10. See Brendan Maddox back there in the 8 car. Another driver who still has a shot at being able to contend, not for the championship, but to get a few more spots in the chase. Currently sitting right behind Carl Pooler. He could jump him. Potentially Dustin Stallings, who is not here tonight due to Hurricane Milton that's on its way inland in the Gulf of Mexico into Florida. Hopefully everyone's staying safe out there right now. As we continue to roll on with this race, Johnny Wood Jr. back on the attack again. He's looking around the outside. Still can't quite get there. This race for the lead still heating up, Andrew. I know you're sitting back watching it just like I am as I see Buzzio into the wall. But still holding on to that 3rd spot. Rolling on now, lap number 13. Still a lot of the way to go. We are only about 0.5% really, when you think about it, all things considered, into this race. Well, no. Don't mind me trying to do math. I've never been any good at it. But you see graphics starting to return a little bit for this broadcast here. As Mason Hausman continues to lead over Johnny Wood Jr., you've got Brendan Maddox and Adam Buzzio fighting for 3rd. Jared Hughes, Richard Wolsifer right behind them. Got a couple of drivers that are not in the chase right now. That's Renner, Maddox, and Plore, the other Maddox that is, rolling in the 7th, 8th, and 9th position. Then Carl Pooler inside the top 10. Now, the fight for the lead heating up again. Johnny Wood Jr. is searching for grip, trying to see where he can put that race car that he could get it any further closer to Mason Hausman. Seems like Hausman now pulling that car out a bit further, just under 2/10 in front. Like I said previously, Johnny Wood Jr. seems to be rotating a lot better through the center, which is helping him overall, but it looks like Hausman is starting to pick up on it and get those exits under wrap, because Johnny Wood Jr. is not really closing that much further like he was on corner exit, but you saw Hausman tip the apron just a little bit. You see the gap on screen to Hausman from Johnny Wood Jr., the closing rate. Getting a little bit closer, bit by bit. They're leaving Adam Buzzio in the dust, I will say. Now falling into the clutches of Brendan Maddox behind him. So it's becoming a race of defense now. Not really any passes being made overall. See Johnny Wood Jr. searching the middle line for grip. He's getting a bit of a run here. Might close up on that 78 car. He thought about it. Gets a little patient. Now, into the middle line, trying to find a way around the 78. Still, Johnny Wood Jr. does not want to let Mason Hausman get any further of a gap. He knows he's in championship striking distance. 4 points back is the distance to that 78. Call it 5 right now. With how they run, stage points would be awarded to those top 2, and that would be another point gain. So call it 6 points if they finish as they are now in stage 1. Johnny Wood Jr. has moments of closing, but now Hausman pulling back out in front even further. The gap now above 2/10. Buzzio falls even further back, 6/10 back from Mason Hausman. Jared Hughes sitting back, waiting, 1.3 seconds back, fighting with Wolsifer. So it's about 3 pairs really, of 2 cars. Now Johnny Wood Jr. separated equal distance between Buzzio and Hausman, who's put that car out 3/10 of a second, maybe more as they cross the start-finish line. if I was Johnny Wood Jr., I'd start pulling back a little bit, holding on to those tires, because Hausman is really setting the pace now. They roll into turn number 3. You can see out of camera shot all of the separation amongst this field. Borbell's still 2 laps down, by the way. He's not in a position that he could lose another lap, currently running in turns 3 and 4 for that 2 car, who still has a shot at the championship, but it's ever so slipping away as we get closer and closer to the end of the stage. We're almost halfway through stage 1, and these drivers are looking to collect a considerable amount of stage points and leave Stephen Borbell in the dust. Keep in mind, he is currently sitting only 10 points back. I say only 10 points back, but Mason Hausman is looking to put him 21 down from the lead if he continues to set this pace right now. A quick caution would save that 2 car, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen with how spread out this field is. See them rolling in. Down the back straightaway, they all roll. So spread out with this field. Mason Hausman now 5/10 of a second out in front of that 75 car. Adam Buzzio now a full second behind. He's got Brendan Maddox on the back bumper. They are going to go side by side into turn number 1. It looks like Maddox is going to fall into play behind Buzzio, keeping him in check a little bit, telling him, hey, you're not getting away from me. I can try to contend for that 3rd spot, but now the separation, you can see it here. Hausman, Johnny Wood Jr., Buzzio, all separated now. 7/10 up to Hausman, 3/10 back from Wood to Buzzio. Top 4 mainly have broken away from the rest of the pack. Closest battle on screen, though. The 5 and the 8. Adam Buzzio, Brendan Maddox. 2 drivers who still have a shot at potentially winning this championship. Brendan Maddox a little bit further back than Adam Buzzio. Recalling myself earlier where I said Brendan Maddox is 60 points back. He has a chance to pass 2 more cars, potentially put himself towards the top 5 in the standings, which is still nothing to shy away from for Brendan Maddox. He's had a lot of good runs. Believe, if I'm not mistaken, he won Talladega not too long ago. So he's had a good run. He's had a very good season. A big closing rate on that 5 car. Draws along the right rear quarter panel. A little side draft down the straightaway. This is going to put them side by side. Give the nose in front into turn number 1 to Brendan Maddox. That high side really likes to roll here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've seen it a lot in previous broadcasts here on Pit Stop TV, and that's going to be clear sailing for Brendan Maddox into the 3rd spot. He gets by Adam Buzzio. He's got his sights set on Johnny Wood Jr., but it's going to be DD defense for that 75 car to not let that 8 car get in front of him. He cannot afford to allow Mason Hausman to get any more points on him in terms of the championship fight. We recall again, 4 points back for Johnny Wood Jr. 5 points as they run, 6 at the completion of this stage if they finish as they are. So there is still ample and open opportunity for this to slip away from him.
And Zach, I want to call attention to the QR code on the hood of that car to support victims and those impacted by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton preemptively. There's a Brendan Maddox supporting a very great cause there on the hood of that car. You should be able to scan that QR code maybe from this camera angle. It's hard to get a good angle for it, but regardless, supporting the Red Cross and their efforts to help those impacted by these hurricanes, these devastating hurricanes. One has already made its effects, and another is on the way to Florida. But I appreciate you taking the heavy lifting through the first 30 laps of this broadcast. It has been a rough one behind the scenes and a very clean one on the racetrack. We dip back a little further in the field. Renner and Maddox do some battle. We've also got Pooler and Buttkicker. Buttkicker dipping into the grass there on the front straightaway, just clipping the inside turf there into turn number 1. but the action really has been kept up front in that top 5 that we've seen just about the entire race so far. A lot of battling between Maddox and Buzzio there for a bit, and now Maddox has got something on this long run. He pulls up here on Johnny Wood Jr., who's trying, of course, to make up that 4-point deficit on Mason Houseman. He can't be behind Houseman at this point in time, and he's about to go one more car behind Houseman as they sit.
Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, Andrew, with as they run, Johnny Wood Jr. 5 points back, being 1 spot down from Houseman. That would put him 6 back at the completion of the stage. So it's going to be a huge talking point for us. We can't, we're not on track, Andrew. They cannot afford to lose any further points to Mason Houseman, who is currently extending that lead over Johnny Wood Jr. We look back a little bit further.
Ford just got the wall. I don't know if you saw it there at the top of the frame.
I saw it a little bit.
Yeah, just got the wall off a turn 4. So the United Rentals Ford Mustang Dark Horse scraping the outside wall. The right side, though, looks okay. He'll continue on. Pooler and Patinko battle in the background. But Brendan Maddox bringing the heat here and putting pressure on Johnny Wood Jr. Johnny Wood Jr. a little high out of turn 4. And that might open the door for turn 1.
That it might. These next gens are so temperamental in the air with the front splitter and the diffuser. We see a little bit of a look there from Maddox. He tried, but it's going to give him a run here. He's going to pull up on the bumper, puts the move nicely, gets down onto the quarter panel of that 75 car. Johnny Wood Jr. now on the outside line, trying to be defensive.
Contact.
Comes down, pinches.
I think they just barely touched there in the center of the corner. Wood at the racetrack. Maddox down low, side by side for second place on lap 32, now 33. We are closing in on the end of stage 1, and we expect a pit stop before the end of the stage or right around the end of the stage. It's going to be close if they can run all 50 laps on one tank of fuel being 80% fuel load.
There was an idea floating around in my head thinking about, what was it? It was the NASCAR All-Star race.
Oh, Maddox!
Oh, boy!
Maddox almost pushed Wood into the wall. That one got close.
That got very, very close. That could have been an easy right rear hook and put Maddox head on into the wall. Thankfully, they continue to roll on. But one thing I was saying, Andrew, is back when it was called the Winston, I think it was 2002, as they make contact again, there was, who was it? It was Jeff Burton or Mark Martin, I think it was, that pitted at the end of the stage, and their box was before the start-finish line, which allowed them to pit, roll on past the start-finish line, and hold on to their position. I'm trying to think what year that was, but I was thinking maybe one of these guys could try to pull a similar strategy.
You're on track. It was right around the beginning of the 2000s, and I believe it was Jeff Burton, and NASCAR did not like that move at all. And here we go. Here comes Jared Hughes on the inside of Brendan Maddox. Maddox laid back after that close call with Johnny Wood Jr., and now you see the effect of that. These two now side by side. Jared Hughes on the long run speed, pulling up on the inside of car number 8, who squeezes real close to the outside wall and will continue to try and get on by this number 75 car if he can just get back clear of Jared Hughes. But there's a reason that NASCAR closes pit lane just before the end of the stage. It's to prevent that kind of thing happening, Zach. They did not like that move back in the early 2000s. They wouldn't like it here in 2024. There's a really good reason as to why pit lane gets closed a couple laps before the end of the stage.
What was the saying back around that time when everybody was exploiting the loophole? Legal today, illegal tomorrow?
Something like that. As Dakota Camper pulls up to the inside of Adam Buzzio here. This is for 5th spot.
Yeah, Buzzio's really been struggling on this long run pace. He's lost quite a few positions. Remember, he was up in the 3rd spot trying to attack on Johnny Wood Jr. Now he's fallen to the 6th spot as Brendan Maddox clips the wall, trying to get back around Jared Hughes. They're still side by side rolling into turn number 3. Hughes with the advantage going into 3, but air is going to get sucked around Johnny Wood Jr. up the racetrack. Hughes is going to benefit, takes 3rd away, and now Maddox says, I can't afford to sit back, and he goes to the inside. Now Johnny Wood Jr. is losing spots and losing position in the championship.
Quick work made there by Hughes to go on through to 2nd. Camper now side by side with Johnny Wood Jr. as Maddox finally gets through and past the 75 car, but now he's behind the 98, so that kind of throws a wrench into that plan. He stays 3rd place after all of it, and you see, there goes Wood up the racetrack.
1 step forward, 2 steps back, as they say. Brendan Maddox, though, continuing to claw forward. He may not have been able to pass Jared Hughes, but he certainly got by on Johnny Wood Jr. Now we see Adam Buzzio fighting with that 75 car. Those two drivers in contention for this championship. Now they've lost even further ground on Mason Hausman, who's licking the stamp and sending it home in stage 1 at this rate. 2.8 seconds, just about 3 seconds now in front. There you see one car that has gone a lap down. That, I believe, is Stephen Borbell, who has put that car further down the running order. No, Stephen Borbell on the front straightaway now. That is Dakota Bly, who's gone a lap down. You see him in the wall a little bit as they continue to fight. Dakota Camper on the inside of Brendan Maddox. This is going to be for the 4th spot, or actually for the 3rd spot. Brendan Maddox on that outside line, trying to hang on, hold tough. He's got the nose in front. Going down into turn number 1. Still has the nose, but Dakota Camper is going to put that car out in front, potentially take the spot away. No, Brendan Maddox still hanging on. These drivers are going all out tonight as Buzzio has made his way by Johnny Wood Jr. for that spot. So Johnny Wood Jr., the closest driver in the championship fight, continues to fall back as Maddox hits the wall. Hard contact for that 8 car. He keeps it rolling. So much going on at the front of the field. And we're just keeping track of it all. Dakota Camper still hanging on. As Brendan Maddox is behind him, still trying to hang on, is Dakota Camper with so much pressure mounting as we near the end of the stage. On to lap 43 for these guys. So we're about 8 laps away from the end of the stage right now. This pretty much the whole field is relatively single file. Mason Hausman continues to extend that lead. There's really no contest at this point. You've got 8 laps to go in this stage. You got Dakota Bly a lap down. That's going to hurt Stephen Borbell because he was trying to get the free pass and put himself back down to 1 lap down to where he would be the free pass again, potentially put himself back on the lead lap. So, realistically speaking, the strategy has just been thrown out and away because Borbell could have been able to pit after getting the free pass. After all the lead lap cars took to pit road, he would have been able to get some fuel, get that car back out on the racetrack and still holding position. But now you've got Dakota Bly, who has gone a lap down, will get the free pass. So Borbell might have to take a wave around, potentially, and then pit under the green flag. Don't know how well that's going to affect him. Maybe he's hoping for a quick caution. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, the stage getting closer and closer to the end. 6 laps to go in the stage. You see Dakota Camper running the wall in front of Jared Hughes. They are fighting hard as can be for that spot. You see Dakota Camper's finally made it by that 98 car Hughes. Brendan Maddox waiting in the wind, seeing if he can close back up even the slightest. Buzzio, Johnny Wood Jr., very close behind. But 5 laps to go in the stage. There is not much left on the table for these drivers. See, Johnny Wood Jr. has fallen way further back. He might fall into the clutches of the cars behind him. That's Wolsifer and Plord, Carl Pooler, and Evan Patinko make up your top 10. I failed to mention Evan Patinko getting inside the top 10. He was able to put his car in there, get right behind Carl Pooler. I think they're still in a relatively close fight between each other. Just about 2.6 seconds between the two of them. But you see on board with Brendan Maddox now. He's trying to close up to Jared Hughes in that 98 car. As we roll towards the end of this stage, all eyes really on Mason Hausman. 3 laps to go. And that driver has stretched that lead out 2.8 seconds over Dakota Camper, who seems to just have the long run speed. 2.9 that they crossed the line, and then 3.2 to Jared Hughes. This man came into Charlotte tonight knowing exactly what he needed to do. I said it earlier on. As you see, Jared Hughes smacks the wall out of turn number 2. That was pretty heavy contact for that 98 car. He keeps it rolling. We stay green, rolling up to the start-finish line. Or you see another lap car up in front, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for Mason Hausman. 2 laps to go in stage number 1 for that 78 car. Like I was saying before we saw Jared Hughes hit the wall, this driver knew what he needed to do coming into the night. I said it earlier, it's easier said than done to finish in front of everybody. But Mason Hausman has set that car on attack mode, that limitless esport car. He's got Carl Pooler and Richard Wolsifer as his teammates tonight, and I think they know exactly what was going on coming into this race. White flag in the stage. They knew exactly what needed to happen for their teammate to win this championship. And as we roll through stage 1, there's Jared Bottoms potentially going a lap down. It should not be a factor. But into 3 and 4, completely clear, no pressure from behind. Mason Hausman rolls off of turn number 4. The green and white checkered flag is going to fly, and caution is out from race control. Stage checkered. Dakota Camper, Jared Hughes, Brendan Maddox, Johnny Wood Jr. Your top 5, Adam Buzzio, Richard Wolsifer, Jamie Plord, Carl Pooler, and Evan Patinko. They bring it home in an all green stage number 1. See the pace car pulling up to Mason Hausman. Probably going to have to check up a little bit, let that pace car by. But all green and all laps led. 50 of them so far by that 78 car. And now we should see pits open up here for our lead lap finishers, Andrew. These drivers have been all out. I think we're going to see a lot of drivers starting to realize, though, how the strategy worked out for them in stage number 1. That's going to be a big pull in the championship lead for Mason Hausman over Johnny Wood Jr. And all cars down pit lane. The cars up on the jack. Should be 4 tires and fuel out and away. Left side's up, left side's down. Hausman out, Camper behind him. Brendan Maddox, as they roll off of pit road, we're going to go side by side. Pit Stop TV side by side will be, actually, never mind, excuse me. We're going straight to a break as they roll through this caution, and we'll be back with more coverage of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series.
Welcome back to the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway and at least Pit Stop TV. This is not at all how I want this to be going right now. Stage 2 is beginning in the background, but we are having catastrophic software failures in the background that is completely debilitating the broadcast and ruining the product. And unfortunately, it's getting to the point where I am making a choice on my end to do what I feel is most fair to everybody involved. This is not something I take lightly, but I can't physically broadcast with what's happening. So I'm making a choice, and I've talked a bit with Adam Buzzio. I'm making a choice that I feel is most fair to all of you guys that are watching, because I don't want to give you a subpar show. I don't want to give the league a subpar show. I don't want to give myself a subpar show. So I'm making a choice executively, pretty much, that it's best to partially refund the league for this broadcast, and I'll sort that out with Adam. And unfortunately, we're going to be shutting the broadcast off right now. If I could get this resolved in time and get the broadcast turned back on, I will. But to break the fourth wall down and just be honest with you guys, because that's what I appreciate, is honesty. This broadcast has not been to par. It's not going to be up to par unless I can figure something out. This is something on ATVO's side. It's the one software that's breaking right now, and it's frustrating because I put hours of work into these broadcasts, and right now it's not showing. So I will go through a PC reset and try to get back up, but for now, unfortunately, this is goodbye, and possibly for the end of the season. This is, again, not what I want. This is not something I take lightly. This is not enjoyable for me. This is not like a night off all of a sudden. This is a very serious issue on my side and for Pit Stop TV. So I appreciate everybody who's tuned in, and I appreciate you all listening in at this point and hopefully understanding the situation, because this is not fair to anybody, any party involved. So I wanted to come back and be honest and just lay it all on the line, because that's, again, I value honesty. I value transparency, and that's about as transparent as I can make it, is that we're having problems with ATVO completely crashing and completely freezing. We had these issues in a broadcast last night, and it caught me off guard, but I was able to kind of band-aid it up and get through, but I can't band-aid it up any further, and it's not fair either to the other broadcasts that we have later in the week if I don't take time to try and diagnose this and try to find out what's wrong before their shows. So unfortunately, this is going to be it for now, and again, hopefully we are back on here in a little while. Keep an eye on Pit Stop TV here on social media. Keep an eye on the BRB Racing League social media pages. I appreciate all of you watching. But for now, for myself, Andrew Cardinale, and for Zach Burtis, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.